guys, you're here with Ignite the Fire Mission. We're here at Winter Jam with Nick Hall. Nick, you excited to be here?
Excited, man. Love Des Moines. Love what's going to happen tonight. This tour's been awesome so far. Gonna pack the place.
Yeah, and for those of you who might not know, Winter Jam isn't just a one-time show. It's a huge tour, one of the biggest in the nation. Like you said, it's been going good. How many shows have you guys done so far?
This will be night number 12. So it's number 12 of 44. So this is the fourth weekend. We were in West Virginia, North Carolina, Florida, Alabama, Tennessee, and Illinois this weekend. Last night, Kansas City.
Do you have any favorites so far?
Des Moines.
Des Moines. Are you saying that because you're in Des Moines?
You know, my family's from here, so my wife's family. So it's always good to be back and hang out with family. You know, Florida was nice. The weather was actually pretty nice, so that was fun.
Yeah.
To get to be outside without a jacket is a nice change.
Yeah. And Nick is with Pulse Ministries, or are you the founder of Pulse Ministries?
Yep.
Okay, can you tell me a little bit more about your ministry?
Yeah, totally. So Pulse started as a paper I wrote in college back in 2004, 2005. And basically it was a dream as students wanting to see our college campus impacted with the love of Christ. And it's grown to become just a massive student outreach organization. We put on events all over America. We come alongside students and adults, primarily for youth outreach events, and where we want to train students. We lead up prayer gatherings, and we put on big outreach efforts where we try to bring people out who maybe wouldn't typically go to a church, and we want to expose them to the love of God.
Definitely. And you kind of answered it there, but what would you say the core mission of Pulse is?
Yeah, we said we want to awaken culture to the reality of Jesus. Basically what that means for us is like we just believe that God created us with a desire and a need that can only be satisfied in Him. And so we see like the world as this kind of place where there's all these people trying to look for all different things, and yet the meaning and the answer is found in Jesus. And so we want to bring that light of Christ and the love of Christ and point it to as many people as possible and just lift Him up. I mean, He's changed our lives. And so we love telling that story and telling the story of what He did when He came to earth and what He's still doing today.
Definitely. Definitely. And how did you personally come to know Christ?
Yeah, so my mom, when I was a little kid, probably 4 years old, I was asking her questions about life and death. And actually right there by her bedside, when I was just little, we prayed and I asked Jesus to come into my life. And I believe that right then, God started to take control of my heart and in my world. I mean, I was sharing Jesus with other people. It was really when I was in high school that I started to own my faith and started to take it for myself and try to figure out how I can lead other people to Christ and really live for Jesus all the time.
Definitely. And how did you personally get into speaking? Because obviously you're traveling around with Winter Jam, you have Pulse Ministries, and you're a pretty big evangelist. So how did you get into that?
Yeah, you know, it was something when I was a teenager that I really, I just liked being a leader in different things and really felt like I always wanted to point people towards positive things. And so more and more people would ask me to speak at different events, whether it was youth group or things at school, different functions. And yeah, when I was in high school, I had some youth pastors tell me that they thought I had a gifting in evangelism. And that was really the beginning, and then when I was a freshman in college, that's really when I began to kind of focus on that and surrender to that calling. Because I really believe that's why I'm on earth, is to tell people about Jesus and tell as many people as possible. So
yeah, definitely. And one of my favorite questions I get asked from viewers is, what are the most powerful stories you have heard on the road?
yeah, you know, I mean, there's been so many people who have just had radical life change. People who have gone from cutting and suicide and substance abuse and been set free. Just last night I met 2 teenage girls in Kansas City, and both of them came last year to the first Winter Jam. And they were there last year, and both of them had been cutting and doing drugs and just kind of involved in some negative influences. And last year came, and through the music and through the message, God just got a hold of their lives. And it really turned their life around. And now this year they came and they're smiling like, Nick, you wouldn't even recognize me if you'd met me last year. So those stories are really just powerful when you see how the message of Jesus can really change a life. You know, it can give purpose and hope and healing, and that's why we do this. So we're just after every individual, and obviously we're seeing thousands of people change.
Definitely, that's awesome. And last but not least, even though you're not a musician personally, but you're involved with music a lot, what are your personal views on music and what effects it has on us as humans and also as Christ followers?
Yeah, totally. You know, I think music is, I like to think of it as it's the language of the heart, is kind of the way I think of music. And there's something about music that no matter where you're from, no matter what language you speak, language speaks across language boundaries. Because there's something about, you hear that tune, you hear that melody, you hear that beat, and there's just something about it that I think evokes an emotional response. And so I think it's incredibly powerful. And it's a tool that has been used in my life to really draw me closer to Christ, as well as, you know, when I was younger, it was used in many times to draw me away from Christ. And so I think it is an influence for people, whatever they're listening to, you're putting in something, and it's going to shape your heart, and it's going to shape who you are. And that's why I think it's so cool to be out here with positive musicians who are lifting up Jesus, and even just lifting up having a good life and making an impact and loving others and treating us with respect. You know, that's the values that I want others to hear about, and certainly as I have a family and I even have friends, I mean, that's what I want them getting impacted by. So I think music is super powerful and can change a life.
Definitely. Well, I think that's the interview. Thanks for sitting down.
Hey, thanks, Cameron.
Yep. You can find us on Twitter at IgniteTheFire1. You can find Nick on Twitter and Facebook as well. Thanks for tuning in.